staff and members of the public, and welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 26th of March. It is 5:30, so we need to get underway. But before I do, let me move my torch. We had no power here earlier, but before I do, we are live streaming this meeting, and I do need to read this declaration so everyone is aware. The Shire of Murray Ordinary Council meeting is being live streamed and recorded on the Shire's website in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Members of the public attending this meeting consent to the possibility that their image and voice may be captured on the recording and live streaming. Statements or decisions made at this meeting should not be relied or acted on by an applicant or any other person until they have received written notification from the Shire of Murray. Okay, so that brings us through to attendance, apologies and leave of absence. We have all senior staff and all councillors present except for Councillor Rob Cashman, who is on an approved leave of absence. Item 2.1 is a request for a leave of absence from Councillor Stuart Carter, which is that he would like to have leave for the Ordinary Council meeting on the 23rd of April 2026. I presume that Councillor Carter, you will move that item? Yes. And then do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Rogers. I should think nobody's likely to be opposing it, but we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Thank you. Which brings us to item 3, response to previous public questions taken on notice. That is nil. It brings us to item 4, public question time. Do I have any questions, specifically questions from the public? No? So now we come up to item 5, which is petitions and approved deputations. Councillors, we have had a late request for a deputation, but that was based upon our late notification to the people. So we do need to put it to a vote, but I think in this particular case we should be very lenient to the fact that they've acted in the time frame that we've given them. It's just unfortunate that we didn't act in our own time frame with this case. So the deputation is from Ms Heidi Burrows, and it's in relation to item 11.3, proposed extension to extractive industry lot 521 Cairo Road, Ravenswood. Do I have a mover, please, to accept the late deputation? Councillor Lee and seconder? Councillor Rogers. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. So, Ms Burrows, please feel free to come to the lectern. Please state your name and your address and then proceed with your deputation, please.
Yep. So my name's Heidi Burrows. I'm located in Ravenswood on Corio Road. I've just built our house, soon to be moving in it next week. So we have already put a submission forward as a street. Everyone came together and we did put forward our concerns, but we knew that it would make a difference, just trying to come in here and speak our concerns. So currently the management of the current quarry that's there is lacking. So we've got problems with traffic and speed. The trucks are coming in early and there's been no real repercussions. So that's been reported on by myself and others on our street. In the first place, the dust is uncontrolled, especially with the heavy winds that we get out there. Obviously the early starts, the roads are starting to get more and more worn. Yes, we do have other businesses out there and we understand that. But with the weight of those trucks, the roads just aren't kept to the standard that they need to be to keep it safe. We've also got the potential of that we're preventing growth in the area. So we've just had a new distillery open up on the road, which gives Pinjarra a chance to promote tourism in the area. We've got a beautiful sweeping landscape out there that people can use to get tourists to our area, but we're just going to chuck another mine quarry in there and probably just prevent that. It could be a residential growth opportunity as well. We've got places popping up all along Ravenswood on Old Mandurah Road. That can start pushing out to Corio Road with 5 minutes from town. It is too close to town to be just adding another quarry in. And yeah, it's mostly, the biggest concern is safety on those roads. It's just not being managed well enough. So that's all I've got.
Great. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ms Burrows. Councillors, do any councillors have any questions of Ms Burrows while she is there that may help you clarify the item from a resident's perspective?
Excuse me, Mr. President. Given my proximity interest, does that preclude me from asking questions?
I would think that it
Think
would.
so? Okay, thank you.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Ms Burrows.
Thank you.
There being no further deputations, we will now move on to item 6, which is confirmation of the minutes. 6.1, Ordinary Council Meeting 26th of February 2026. Do I have a mover for those minutes, please? Councillor Willis and Councillor Black to second. Are there any comments or questions? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Item 7, announcements by the presiding member will be attached to the minutes. And likewise, item 8, announcements by elected members will be attached to the minutes. Item 9, acknowledgement of receipt of disclosure of interests. I have 3. The first one I have is from Councillor Willis, and that is in relation to item 11.3, proposed extension to Extractive Industries Lot 521 Cairo Road, Ravenswood, in that her partner's family property has a common boundary with Lot 521 Cairo Road, on which the extension of the Extractive Industries is proposed, and that is a proximity interest, so when we get to that item, Councillor Willis will have to leave the room. The next two in relation to item 14.1. First is from Councillor Jeff Black and the second one is from Councillor Steve Lee. It's in relation to Consolidated Edenvale Heritage Precinct Master Plan 2026. Councillor Black is the chairman of the Friends of Edenvale and Councillor Lee is the treasurer for the Friends of Edenvale. But they are impartiality interests, so they will remain in the room and vote accordingly. And they will read their declaration at that time. Item 10, reception of minutes and recommendations of committees held since previous meeting of council is nil. Reports of the Chief Executive Officer and officers, planning and sustainability. 11.1, consideration of submissions for the amendment number 331 to local planning scheme number 4, special rural and hills landscape protection zones. Councillors, we have a recommendation there. Do we have a mover, please? Councillor Rogers, Councillor Willis to second. Is there likely to be anybody opposing this recommendation? Are there any comments or questions? Councillor Rogers, would you like to add anything to it? Councillor Willis? No? That being the case, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Item 11.2, proposed renewable energy facilities local planning policy. There's a recommendation there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Carter and Councillor Willis to second. Is anyone likely to oppose this item? Got any comments or questions?
I have a question, if I may, Mr. President, of Mr. Peake. The battery storage facility that was going to be built on Patterson Road, is that still going ahead and they'll come under these rules and so on, won't they?
Mr. Peake, can you please push your button? Thank you.
The Cairo Road, the Patterson Road BESS has already been approved, and so therefore it wouldn't come under this. However, the various provisions that are incorporated in this policy have been addressed as part of that development approval.
Okay, any other comments? Councillor Rogers?
Through the chair, it's also a question for Mr. Peake. It mentions in the policy the decommissioning and rehabilitation of these sites is when these sites, should they be approved, cease operation. are we able through this process, when it comes back to council, are we able to put more, I guess, finite wording around that? I mean, as in, I'm just concerned, you see it throughout the state sometimes, that there's certain facilities that may be built and then nothing ever happens with them, and, you know, the inference is we're coming back to that, we're still using that facility, and they're actually just left there to sit because it's too expensive to rehabilitate or decommission them. So they're left in a caretaker mode. Are we able to put something more, I guess, specific around what a cease of operation means? As I don't know if we're able to do that, but if we think nothing's happening there and the owner of these facilities say, oh, trust us, we're still there, we don't really have anything to move forward in that regard.
Yeah, so this is a policy which would be applied to individual development applications. So we will have a chance to put precise conditions on the development approval at the time. We can tighten up the wording in that policy by putting in a definition in the appendix in that policy. There is provision already for a financial mechanism that's built into that policy already, and of course the plan which would be needed up front, so that everyone is very clear on what is needed before they commence development. That's already built into the policy, but certainly we can tighten up through the process. We can tighten up the exact wording of that, or the council can move for a variation for that to be formally occur prior to the commencement of advertising as well.
Any other comments or questions, councillors? Would the mover like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's good to see that the Shire staff have recognised the need for a planning policy regarding renewable energy, as it's foreseeable that the Shire will start to receive additional applications in this area, especially if fuel prices stay as they are. It's good that the policy gives consideration to avoid impacts of significant environmental areas within the Shire as well. So I was glad to see that as part of the policy idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Willis, anything to add?
Just further to what Councillor Carter has just stated, I was very impressed to see the various areas within the environment of the Shire of Murray that have been precluded to protect, jarrah forests, and we've got areas over near our water sites and things like that. I was very happy to see that, so thank you.
Excellent. If there's no further discussion and there is nobody opposing this, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. This brings us on to item 11.3, proposed extension to extractive industry lot 521 Kaira Road, Ravenswood. Councillor Willis, you're going to leave us at this point. Councillors, we have heard a deputation from Ms. Burrows on this item. We have got a recommendation there. Do I have a mover for the recommendation, please? Nobody? Does anybody have an alternative or foreshadowed motion? No? Gee whiz. Yes, it's got to be put on the table before we can ask questions. Do we or not?
Probably not. You can ask a question.
Okay.
Because it may affect whether they move.
Okay, right. All right. The CEOs have advised that you can ask a question to clarify whether you'd like to move the motion, move the recommendation.
So it was mentioned that there has been complaints put into the Shire about trucks getting there early. Has that been addressed?
Mr. Peake, have you?
Mr. Pete?
I'm not aware of historic complaints, but most recently, over the last few weeks, there has been one or two complaints, and those complaints, I believe, have been acted upon swiftly by the proponent. And the last complaint was maybe 2 weeks ago, I believe, and we haven't had any further complaints since that. They responded very quickly to that complaint and provided copies of internal communications to demonstrate that they've acted swiftly on that complaint.
That answer your question? You have another one?
Yeah, probably for, in regards to the condition of the roads. Does the Shire actually inspect the roads with the current sand pit, and is there any monetary come back to the Shire from the sand pit operators?
That one's
to
for you, Mr.
upkeep
Smith,
the
I think.
road?
There's a condition of all extractive industry is contribution to our maintenance of our road network. We're not out there every other week inspecting roads. Should there be a concern that someone raises, we will inspect the road to assess the level of that road where the maintenance is required. But definitely we have haulage contributions from anywhere our extractive industry and or our developments that obviously put heavy haulage onto our road network.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. With those few clarifications made, has that changed anybody's mind in regard to the officer's recommendation? If not, do we have anybody that has an alternative recommendation? If not, I guess that means we lay it on the table, is that?
You could move that you refuse.
Right. So if nobody is keen to move the recommendation to approve, does anybody wish to move a recommendation to refuse? Councillor Lee?
I was going to vote against it. Yes, I move that an alternative recommendation be that we not approve this extension. I appreciate that council officers...
Sorry, Councillor Lee, you're going to move the motion to refuse it, so we need to make sure we get a seconder before we get into too much dialogue.
Okay.
Do we have a seconder for the refusal? Councillor Rogers? Okay. Councillor Lee, you are the mover, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate that council officers have actually put in place a number of recommendations and conditions on the extraction of this sand. However, we know from experience and from good authority that they do not stick to their conditions, and I therefore think that regardless of what conditions we place on their operations, they're not going to take any notice, and I believe for that reason they should be refused.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers, would you like to make any comment? Is there going to likely be anybody that is to oppose the refusal motion set by Councillor Lee? Any other comments or questions in regard to the alternate motion? That being the case, we'll put this item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously.
We need a reason.
And the CEO informs me that we need a reason because we haven't supported the officer's recommendation. And please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. CEO, but I would glean from the discussion that it's based around the lack of surety that the proponent will abide by conditions because their prior track record would demonstrate that maybe they don't. Is that sufficient reason or not?
I probably wouldn't say that. They may.
Okay, so Mr. CEO, have you got a reason then?
Thank you for that. Probably given the impact on safety, amenity, quarry being too close to town and safety issues are the reasons why this couldn't be supported.
Okay. Is everyone happy with that reason for refusal? Is that in line with people's thoughts?
And dust.
And dust.
Dust issues.
Okay. Very good. That item is carried unanimously. Mhm.
Did you council want to move? They're happy with that, or is everyone happy with that?
It's been resolved, yep. Corporate governance, 12.1, Local Government Act Reform, Local Government 1995. Oh, yes, we need to bring Councillor Willis back. Sorry, Councillor Willis, I was carrying on without you. I apologise.
It was refused.
Back to item 12.1, Local Government Act 1995 reforms, amendment to council policies and code of conduct. We have the recommendation there. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Carter. And a seconder, Councillor Black. Is there anyone likely to be opposing this recommendation? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That is passed unanimously. (12.2) Walga Electoral Reform Discussion Paper submission. We have the recommendation there. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Carter, Councillor Willis. Any comments or questions in relation to this? The mover would like to make comment.
I would just like to say I agree with every point of the draft discussion paper, our response to. I note that the local government minister cited rising costs associated with biennial elections being a reason for considering 4-year election cycle. Therefore, I don't understand why there would be, therefore, a need for introducing compulsory voting at local government elections, as the cost would be vastly higher than is currently. I also agree with the discussion paper that these reforms could increase the potential for party-led campaigning. I like the fact that currently there's no need for a local government elected member to have any association with or even knowledge about political parties.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Councillor Willis, would you like to add?
I agree with, thank you, Councillor Carter, I agree with everything you've just said. And I'd also like to make the point, as a councillor that's only sat for just over 2 years, having the election process where half the council is still serving allows a new councillor to come in and actually catch up and follow through, and for continuity in terms of let me find the word, sorry. I'm going to put this out there on the screen, perimenopause. It's not pleasant. But finding the continuity in the, the programs and everything that's happened. If you have the possibility of all councillors moving out every 4 years, I think it could create a bit of chaos and ultimately cost council more in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Willis. Is there any other councillors have any comments or questions in relation to the item? Is anyone wanting to speak against the item? No? We'll put the item to the vote then. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. (12.3) Payment from Municipal and Trust Funds, February 2026. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lee, Councillor Rogers to second. Any comments or questions? We'll put the item. All those in favour? It's passed. (12.4) Monthly Financial Report, February 2026. Councillor Kirkham's happy to move that, and Councillor Black to second. there any comments or questions in relation to the monthly financial report? Great, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. (12.5) 2025-2026 statutory budget review. We have the recommendation there. Do we have a mover, please? Councillor Lee, Councillor Rogers to second. Is anyone likely to be opposing this recommendation? Any comments or questions? Councillor Lee, would you like to?
Yeah, I fully support the recommendations, and they all make sense and put us in a good position.
Great. Councillor Rogers, anything further? No? Put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. (13.1) Economic Development Strategy 2026 to 2031. The recommendation there. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Carter, Councillor Rogers to second. Any comments or questions? Anyone likely to be opposing? No? We'll put the item to the vote then. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Uh, 14.1 Consolidated Edenvale Heritage Precinct Master Plan. We have two impartiality interests here. So, Councillor Black, could you please read the declaration? Yeah, you've got to press your little thingamajigger. Thank you.
Regard to item 14.1, I disclose I have an association with the applicant. This association is chairman of Friends of Edenvale. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Thank you. And Councillor Lee, if you could please read the declaration.
Yep. With regard to item 14.1, I disclose I have an association with the item. This association is that I am the Treasurer of the Friends of Edenvale. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Lee and Councillor Black. The recommendation is there, councillors. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Carter and a seconder, Councillor Willis. Is there anyone that would like to ask a question or make a comment? Councillor Carter, would you like to?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that from what I've read, a lot of work has gone into both the development of the master plan as well as extensive consultation of both the public generally and the specific Edenvale user groups. I know that the majority of the feedback has been positive. As the Shire continues to welcome more residents and visitors to the area, it's great to have a central, activated, accessible, historical precinct that showcases aspects of Pinjarra's past while being utilised by many of the different groups within the region.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Carter. Councillor Willis, anything to further add to that? No. If nobody's wanting to speak against the item, then we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. (14.2) Request for support of new road names for Dandalup Ranges, North Dandalup. Do I have a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Black and Councillor Rogers is happy to second. Any comments or questions in relation to the item? No? Councillor Black, would you like to add anything?
I think the names I've suggested are different, but certainly cover what they meant to be.
Excellent. All right, if there's nobody going to be opposing this, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. (15) Items for information. 15.1 Delegated Development Application Decisions February 2026 will be attached for information. 15.2 Outstanding Council Resolutions March 2026 will also be attached for information. 16 Business left over from a previous meeting is nil. 17, elected members' motions of which previous notice has been given is nil. And 18 is notice of motions for consideration at the following meeting. Does any elected member have a notice of motion for consideration next month? That's nil. 19, new business of an urgent nature approved by the presiding person or by decision of the meeting. I believe that to be nil. Which brings us to item 20. Meeting will be closed to the public for confidential business. Do I have a mover to go behind closed doors? Councillor Carter and Councillor Black. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. I come out from closed doors, so do I have a mover for that, please? Councillor Carter, Councillor Kirkham, all those in favour? It's passed unanimously. And for the live streaming, we declare that the recommendations as put in the agenda were passed unanimously by council. Do I have to read them verbatim? Okay. So 20.1, Enterprise Bargaining Agreement, Administration Staff 2026. That council endorsed the Shire of Murray Enterprise Bargaining Agreement, Administration Staff 2026 Confidential Appendix 1 and authorises the Chief Executive Officer to register the document with the Western Australian Industrial Relations Commission. And 20.2, the Enterprise Bargaining Agreement, Outside Workers 2026. That council endorse the Shire of Murray Enterprise Bargaining Agreement, Outside Workforce 2026 Confidential Appendix 1 and authorises the Chief Executive Officer to register the document with the Western Australian Industrial Relations Commission. Which brings us to item 21, closure of the meeting, and I declare the meeting closed at 6:05. Thank you, councillors and staff.